You've tuned in to the Top 10 Gardener with garden expert Ken Lain. Join him daily as he answers timely garden questions that are sure to make a difference in your gardens. Now welcome your host, Ken Lain.
And we are back with Lisa Waters Lane. She comes each week and just shares her garden insights. Just what is she seeing? What's tickling her heart? What does she see? Just what looks great in her gardens, her neighborhood. Plus, I just like sharing studio time with her. So, Lisa, welcome back into my world, the studio.
Your world.
Well, we work together every day, so
I think it's our world.
How do I make that more romantic?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. We're going to work again, honey. I'll see you at dinner.
I would say we hardly ever see each other at work, so
we do give each other our own space.
Yes,
or lanes.
we do.
So I think that's how you run a small business. It's either going to destroy your marriage, or it's going to be the best thing ever. It can go both ways, but you better respect
pretty fun the
each
day
other.
Too,
or the stress. So, but we work pretty well together.
We do.
It's a good family business. I'd do it again.
I would too. It's actually been very good to us.
It has.
Yeah.
Garden Center business been very, very good to us.
No.
I'm doing voices. You better take over now. So I see you got an Amaryllis there. It's stunning.
So a couple of weeks ago, I brought in just the bulb.
Yeah.
And we talked about it and said, these are going to be amazing. They're going to be gorgeous. And so I brought one in that's blooming. Just to show people.
You better back it up. The flower's too big on the screen.
Isn't that pretty? So this is just one of the varieties. I think we had 4 different varieties in. But absolutely gorgeous. And literally you do nothing. So
blooms like this for a month and a half and nothing.
And it's gorgeous. And I know we still have some left from our first load, but we're also bringing some in
for Mother's Day.
Probably fairly soon here for Mother's Day, but absolutely gorgeous. Just beautiful to watch it grow.
It has the Amaryllis, just describe those folks that are driving down, going over to Trader Joe's or wherever. So an Amaryllis bulb is like, it's basically like a tulip, only on absolute steroids. So it's 10 times larger than a tulip bulb. So we've dipped it in wax and we put a wire base at the bottom so it stands up straight on a table or a desk or whatever. Great gift for spouse, great gift for a colleague, great gift, just a great gift, or just for you. Skip a gift, something fun for you as a gardener. And then the Amaryllis will sprout up and it will have this 1 to 1.5 foot tall stalk, and then these clusters of flowers. This has got 4 ginormous flowers, and then more bulbs
it's got like 2 or 3 more coming
out. So this would be at least 1 foot across, covered in a flower bouquet. It's a living, breathing bouquet, but because we've dipped this bulb in wax, you never water it. You never care for it. In fact, it looks like this one's actually coming up with a second stalk. This might actually bloom over 2-3 months is what will happen. But Amaryllis are famous at Christmas. We're trying to make them famous at Easter and at Mother's Day. And so we've got some that are dipped in rose blossoms. We've got some that are dipped in moss. The Mother's Day ones are going to have moss with some succulents coming off the side. They're just cute as can be. Oh my gosh, gardeners are going to go nuts. So Amaryllis, that is pretty. Does it smell?
I don't know.
They don't smell.
My smeller's off, so I can't tell you.
They don't smell. They just.
But they're beautiful and just so easy to take care of and enjoy. But I wanted to show people. We showed them the bulb. This is what they turn into.
You folks on Spotify and Apple, you just get to see it all.
You have to come into the store and see what they look like.
The store even better. Thanks for sharing that again.
Sure.
Perfect.
So we are still having a busy. So we've had trucks after trucks after trucks. We unloaded one just this morning.
Back hurts. Yeah.
So we unloaded one today that has more of our fruit trees on it.
Yeah.
So more of those specialized fruit trees, the cocktails, the 4-in-1 apples, 3-in-1.
Any dwarfs? I've got more. We ran out of dwarf. We true genetic dwarf. We need dwarf trees.
We got dwarf nectarines and dwarf peaches in several of them.
Good.
So we have a really good supply of those dwarfs, which are just so fun to grow, whether you do them in a container or out in your yard. So easy to to pick the fruit from because they're all right at your level.
Or
So
protect from frost or
protect
whatever.
from
Keep the
frost.
animals off.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So definitely have a good selection of those. We have an amazing selection of the KV plums, the ornamental plums, which are blooming right now throughout town. They have kind of that pinkish blossom to them. They put on the burgundy leaf. This is a terrific tree for here. It's kind of a no muss, no fuss tree. Once it's established, it's just tough as nails. So
I was going to feature that this week in our article, but we didn't have enough when we ran out. So I'm glad to hear we got more. I'll feature them maybe next week. I'll just go purple leaf plum, purple. I forget what name I gave it, but
something wild, I'm sure.
Something fun that describes it better than plum tree that blooms.
Okay. We also have a great selection of red buds. We have weeping red buds. We have Merlot red buds. We have vanilla twist red buds. Eastern Oklahoma's, just a really nice selection of all those red buds, which will be probably blooming within the next week or two.
I think Prescott Valley was starting to they're starting to crack colors out there. So the warmer areas, especially where the sun is showing, I think the commercial setting areas, that's a tough plant. They put it in commercial settings, asphalt and trucks. It was starting to crack color. So I think by this time next week, they'll be in full bloom. At the lower elevation.
Gorgeous when they bloom. Crab apples. Crab apples are probably becoming one of my more favorite flowering trees. They just have that really big blossom to them. They really make a show.
Brighter colors.
Right now, the spring snow are blooming at the store. Oh, so fragrant. You walk by and you're like, I'm just going to stand here for a while
therapy session
and enjoy this. But we have royal raindrops. We have prairie fire, radiant crab apples. We've got the spring snow. We've got some, they call it a Sprite. It's a real mini little one. So nice selection of those. So blooming trees, fruit trees, it is premium time to come pick out what you want. We also have a wonderful selection of cool season veggies, which we're still in that. It's not tomato time yet for most of you.
Though.
We have them,
peppers,
but you got to have a greenhouse or a way to protect them.
Yeah.
But we have lots that you can put in now and not have to worry about protecting your kale, your lettuces, broccoli, all those kind of cool season stuff. Peas, good to put in now. Wonderful selection of herbs. So I love herbs. I think they're just totally underutilized in our area. And so many of them are perennial. I mean, they're coming back year after year after year. Now, we don't have the true warm one, basils, those guys, but we got the ones you can definitely put out now. The sage, the rosemaries, the lavenders, mints, lots of mints, lots of oreganos, lots of thyme. And it's a wonderful time to get it going. And you can grow those in containers. You can grow them in some people like to do an herb garden or a raised herb garden bed. Just so many different ways to use them. You can put them in your pots with your pansies. I mean, you just use them so many different ways.
Yeah, it's true.
We're getting some wonderful hanging baskets that are now coming in. The calabacoa. Sometimes
it was exciting to see this come off the truck. The first big load of big showy flowers.
So a lot of calabacoa, which is the million bells. Some people know them as million bells. This is looks like a small petunia, but my gosh, they just bloom all season long. Great plant for here. Some gorgeous hanging geranium plants. The ivy geranium and the regular geraniums that are in. So
those will take a bit of frost. So they're not going to die with, hard freeze, maybe cover them or bring them indoors, but they love growing this time of year.
Definitely. So a lot of color, lots of pansies and violas, unique colors, not just your blue. I mean, we've got some really specialized colors and they're really, really pretty. In the perennials, we're starting to get our Salvia gregii in. For those people that want to attract those hummingbirds into their yard, that's a great one for it.
Gardenias, I saw those were starting to bloom.
They're blooming. So, I kind of just stand by them and smell them too.
Therapy session. If you feel stressed, come to the garden center.
Definitely.
We tell the staff, if your back hurts, go smell the crab apples. Get a bad customers, go smell the gardenias. If you need some therapy. Take some you time.
Right.
And then come back to work.
And then get back to work. So a lot of azaleas are starting to bloom right now too. So you got to come in and check all this stuff out.
So we'll show them one last time.
Okay. There's the Amarillis.
But we are out of time. Ken and Lisa Lain, the Mountain Gardeners. We'll be right back with more garden tips, tricks, and insiders, garden hacks right after this.
Waters Garden companion plants of the month are lilac, poppy, columbine, and our purple twist plum.
This Arizona plum is the ideal purple tree between evergreens.
Blooms in a profusion of pink flowers that precede the deep purple foliage.
Large enough to use as a front yard tree and behaved enough to use as a street tree.
Plant pairs flanking gateways, driveways, or an orchard like rows to screen neighbors.
Purple twist plum can only be found at Waters Garden Center in Prescott.
You're listening to garden expert Ken Lain, owner of Waters Garden Center in Prescott. Look for more tips, tricks, and garden shortcuts through Ken's website. Additional shows of this podcast, read his weekly garden column, or follow him on Facebook, Instagram at watersgardencenter.com. That's Waters with 2 T's, gardencenter.com.